This is the Comfortbilt Pellet Stove HP22, a freestanding pellet heater with a big bay view window, a digital controller, and the kind of blower that actually moves warm air across a room, instead of letting it pool near the unit. On paper, you'll see two heat numbers tossed around for this model: 50,000 BTU in a lot of marketing, and a certified output closer to 41,000 BTU. BTU just means how much heat energy it can deliver in an hour. In my opinion, the certified figure is the one to trust for sizing your space, but the real story is how it feels in the room and how steady it runs day to day. From my experience, that's where the HP22 earns its keep. On looks and build, it has a sturdy classic stove shape with a modern, oversized viewing window that makes the flame show the centerpiece. The body is heavy gauge steel, finished in black, and it feels like a proper appliance, not a tin box. It's roughly 24 inches wide, 25 inches deep, and about 32.5 to 33 inches tall, so it takes up a real footprint. The 55-pound hopper lives under a solid lid and holds a little more than one standard 40-pound bag with room for top-offs. The ash pan is legitimately large and slides out cleanly. Around back, there's a 3-inch exhaust port for venting and a 2-inch air intake if you're running outside air, which I recommend for consistent burns. Weight is north of 270 pounds, so once you park it, plan around it. Style-wise, it sits nicely in a living area without screaming for attention, and that glass stays surprisingly clean thanks to the air wash system. Setup for me meant running proper pellet vent, sealing joints, giving it a dedicated outlet with surge protection, and doing a short break-in burn to cook off factory oils. The control panel is simple: 5 heat levels, a 7-day programmable thermostat, and an eco mode that lets it shut down when you hit temp and relight on demand. Ignition is automatic and takes a few minutes. Once primed, feed is reliable thanks to the vertical auger. The blower has enough muscle to push heat into adjacent rooms, not just the corner where the stove sits. Heating performance is where it surprised me. In a drafty 1970s home with about 1,800 square feet, on the main level, it holds 68 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit in daytime temperatures without asking for help from my central furnace. When we dip into the teens, I bump it to a higher level and the furnace only trims the edges overnight. If you're looking at the up to 2,800 square feet claim, that's best case with mild weather and good insulation. From my experience, for a typical home in a real winter, think more like 1,200 to 2,200 square feet as primary heat with supplemental help when it gets truly cold. Pellet consumption depends on heat level and pellet quality. On low, a full 55-pound hopper has given me around 18 to 20 hours. On high, I'm refilling in the 8 to 10 hour range. Premium hardwood pellets produce less ash and a hotter, cleaner flame for me, with fewer clinkers. Fines and damp pellets are troublemakers. They choke airflow and hurt ignition. Keep pellets dry and sift if you see lots of dust. Maintenance is the real key. The big ash pan is great, but it can fool you into skipping the important stuff. The burn pot needs attention every hopper fill. That means lifting it, dumping ash and clinkers, and making sure all the air holes are clear. When those holes plug, the fire starves for air. Pellets pile up, and you get weak flame, sooty glass, and sometimes a shutdown with a low heat warning. I pull the scraper rod for the heat exchanger daily when the stove is running steady, and vacuum the inner chambers each ton or so with pellets. Then do a full deep clean and vent check at the end of the season. With that routine, the stove lights quickly, burns bright, and the glass stays clean longer than I expected. There are quirks. There's no low pellet sensor, so you have to keep an eye on the hopper. If you run it dry, you're waiting through a cool down before it will restart. The controller is straightforward, but looks a bit old school. The fan is noticeable at higher levels. Think a strong box fan, not a jet engine, and it's a fair trade for the heat it pushes. I haven't had an igniter fail, but I keep a spare on hand because it's a wear item on all pellet stoves. Support-wise, I've leaned on Comfortbilt's videos and guides and found them genuinely helpful for tuning and cleaning. I haven't needed a warranty claim, but I've seen mixed stories from other owners, so I document installs and keep delivery notes and photos just in case. Key features that matter to me are the eco mode with the 7-day thermostat, the strong blower and heat exchanger combo, and the large viewing window that actually stays presentable. The 55-pound hopper is fine for a daily refill rhythm, but if you want longer unattended runs, the HP22N with the 80-pound hopper is the one. It's taller, rated at the higher output, and gets you into that 30-plus hour burn time zone on low. If you have an existing fireplace cavity, the HP22i insert version makes more sense. The HP22 line is EPA and CSA certified, which means cleaner burns and compliance with emissions rules. In my opinion, the performance feels closer to the certified 41,000 BTU than the headline 50,000 BTU, but the real-life comfort is what sells it. With decent pellets and a clean burn pot, the heat output is genuinely satisfying. It's perfect for homeowners who want a main living area to be consistently warm without babysitting a fire every hour, as long as you're willing to do quick daily maintenance. I'd recommend this for folks heating medium to larger spaces, anyone who appreciates a programmable schedule, and people who like the look of a fire without the mess of cordwood. If your priority is all-day, low-touch operation, or you're away from home for long stretches, I'd step up to the HP22N for the bigger hopper. If quiet is your top priority over airflow, you might want to audition the fan sound in person. But for me, the heat output more than makes up for the hum. From my experience, the biggest factor separating a great season from a frustrating one is airflow. Keep the burn pot holes open, pull the scraper rod regularly, vacuum the internal passages, and don't ignore the venting. Use a surge protector, store pellets dry, and consider keeping a spare igniter and door gasket on hand so a small part doesn't sideline you. Do that, and this stove behaves like a reliable workhorse. In conclusion, the Comfortbilt HP22 delivers strong, steady heat with honest, hands-on upkeep. It's not magic, but it's efficient, convenient with the thermostat and auto-ignite, and more than capable of carrying the heating load for a typical home when used correctly. In my opinion, the buying decision comes down to your tolerance for routine cleaning and whether the standard hopper size fits your lifestyle. If you're okay with a daily burn pot check and a weekly ash pan dump, this is a solid, confidence-inspiring heater. If you need longer stretches between refills, the HP22N fixes the only real limitation I ran into. If you found this video helpful, hit subscribe, drop your questions or your own HP22 tips in the comments, and I'll get back to you. Thank you for watching.